Hello everyone, I am Bharat. Welcome to the second video of the scanning electron microscopy series. Um, in this video and also the next video, so this and next video will discuss more about secondary and backscattered electrons and their signal generation, and we'll also discuss few images that are generated using these two signals. So the objective of this video and the next video are to understand is to understand the imaging signals, mainly BSC and SC. BSC is the abbreviation for backscattered electron, SC is the abbreviation for secondary electron. Okay, so as we saw in the previous video, when an electron beam comes and hits the sample, there are a lot of signals that are generated, right? So we are discussing only about two signals here, backscattered electron signal and secondary electron signal. Okay, these two signals are primarily used for imaging, so they are called imaging signals. That means we can obtain image of the test sample. Okay, secondary electron signals provide images that look more realistic, that appear 3D. So basically it appears as if we have taken a photograph at a micro level rather than obtaining an image of the sample. So they look very beautiful. Whereas backscattered images are more 2D kind of, and so they kind of appear dull. However, backscattered electron signals are very flexible and they can be used to a greater extent as opposed to secondary electron signals. So BSC signal, along with obtaining image, they can also tell something about the composition of the test sample. It also gives information. It also gives information on the surface morphology, and also we have something called backscattered electron diffraction, so which can be done using BSC signals to obtain information on the crystal structure. So BSC signals are more flexible as opposed to SC signals, and we'll see more about these signals later. However, one important thing to mention here is that secondary electron signals are non-directional, so they are low energy, they are non-directional. Since they are low energy and non-directional, they do not go to the detector by themselves. They had to be sucked by the detector, and the detector we use for secondary electron is called ET, Everhart Thornley detector. So we'll see more about the detectors later. Okay, just to mention here, so it's a ET detector. It is a secondary electron detector anyways. So whereas secondary electrons are low energy, whereas backscattered electrons are high energy electrons. They are also referred to as line of sight signals. That means they are directional. There is a specific direction in which backscattered electrons are generated. So since they are directional, the geometry of the orientation of the sample with respect to the detector is very important when you are obtaining image using BSC signals. Okay, we'll see why, we will see later. Okay, so coming to the imaging principle, how the images are obtained using these two signals. First, to discuss about the secondary electron imaging. So before we understand how the images are formed, we have to first understand and know a little bit more about the electrons that are generated, the secondary electrons. Okay, so secondary electrons, they are low energy electrons, okay, that come out of the test sample. Since they are low energy, they come only from the top surface of the sample, so roughly about 100 angstrom. So not necessarily a strict number, but roughly 100 angstrom or so. Okay, so whichever come out from the top 100 angstrom, make it to the detector, they can be detected. Whereas if the secondary electrons are generated from a lower depth or a greater depth of in the test sample, they cannot come out. If they cannot come out, we cannot detect. Okay, so that is a key to remember. Secondary electrons are low energy, they are generated from the top surface. So we have something called coefficient for secondary electron generation. So this is nothing but how much of the secondary electrons that are generated, how many electrons are generated from the sample. Okay, so higher the number of electrons generated, higher is the coefficient. Okay, so this coefficient is associated with the theta, the angle of orientation of the sample with respect to the beam. So electron beam. So theta is also referred to as the tilt angle. We'll see in the next page what it represents. Okay, so theta is the tilt angle. Okay, we'll see directly the figure. So theta is also referred to as surface angle. So we see here that from this equation the yield or the coefficient, okay, coefficient or yield both mean the same. So coefficient, higher the coefficient, higher is the number of electrons that are generated. Higher the yield, again higher the number of electrons generated. So we see that SC coefficient is dependent on the tilt angle. Okay, and also from figure 1, SC generation, SC yield is dependent on the accelerating voltage. So we see the graph something like this shown in figure 1. So initially the SC yield increases with the increase in the accelerating voltage up to a maximum. We have a maximum point after which the yield reduces. So why? So let's take an example. So we have let's assume that we have a test sample. Okay, this is the thickness. So h is the height of the sample. So when an electron beam comes and hits the sample, so let's worry only about secondary electrons. Secondary electrons are generated. So if they are generated from the top 100 angstrom, they come out of the sample. So if they come out, we can detect them. They are sucked by the ET detector and thus detected. Whereas if they are generated from greater depth, suppose let's see that when the electron beam comes and hits, if the accelerating voltage is too much, the electron beam penetrates into the sample. Let's assume that point A at a greater depth, okay, if this is 100 angstrom, let's assume that this A is at 700 angstrom. Okay, so if secondary electrons are generated, since they are low energy, they collide with other atoms within the test sample or other elements and so on, they cannot come out. Okay, so we see that that is the reason why we have a maximum and after which there is decrease with an increase in the accelerating voltage. Okay, so now how the yield or the coefficient varies with the tilt angle. So in figure 2, 2a shows the normal typical generation of secondary electrons. So when an electron beam comes and hits the sample, so this is the interaction volume indicated by the blue colored line. So any depth D, so D is here 100 angstrom we were discussing. So if the secondary electrons are generated from that D, 100 angstrom, they come out and can be detected. Whereas as shown in figure B, if the electron beam comes and interacts with the sample and the sample is tilted with respect to, now the sample is tilted with respect to the electron beam, right? So what happens to the interaction volume? It changes. More of the interaction volume comes near to the surface. And since the interaction volume comes near to the surface, there is more generation of secondary electrons for the same beam energy. That is the reason we have an increase in the secondary electron yield with an increase in the tilt angle. We see that it varies with the secant of the tilt angle. So we see from figure 2C that the SC electron yield increases with the sample tilt angle 40 to 80. From 40 to 80 we see an increase. So typically 40 is shown here is that 40 degrees is the angle of the tilt after which there is a significant or a sudden rise in the amount of secondary electrons that are generated. So coming to the BSC electron imaging, how these images are generated, again just like the secondary electrons, we have a coefficient for backscattered electrons as well, which we call it eta, which we denote by eta. Okay, so we'll see how the backscattered electron image how the backscattered electron yield is changing. So figure 3 shows how the yield changes, BSc yield changes with two parameters. First is the tilt angle, sample tilt angle, and second is showing how BSc yield changes with an increasing Z. So Z is the atomic number of the element present in the test sample. Okay. So from when we compare figure A and figure B here, we see that BSc yield is not changing much with the sample tilt angle, whereas it is changing too much with an increase in the Z. Okay. So this is another major difference between secondary electron and backscattered electron generation. So backscattered electron significantly is affected by the Z atomic number of the element, whereas secondary electron generation depends more or is significantly dependent on the tilt angle or the sample orientation. Okay. So that's all in this video. So in the next video we will see how these images, based on this understanding, we'll see how these electron signals can be used to obtain images, as we discussed 3D and 2D kind of images. Okay, thank you very much for watching this video. Please like this video and also share this video with your friends if you find this video useful, and also do not forget to subscribe to Learning Corridor, which is our channel, to know more about civil engineering. Thank you.